Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/infidelity, where OP just had to learn the hard way. Let's begin. My wife attempted to send herself to the shadow realm after I brought up divorce. Posted by Reddit user Highlight Think.
I'm very distraught and can't even bring myself to call anyone or where to go from here. My wife and I have been married for 1.5 years and we've both had our issues before the marriage that we still dealt with within it. My wife has suffered from depression and thoughts of suicide all her life and has had 2 attempts before we met. This was her 3rd. I myself have had issues with addiction, and although it's much better, I still struggle. I had fears around my ability to get better, and also children. Raising children in such an environment probably would mess them up, and I knew that this marriage could not survive. I spoke with her about it peacefully and to the reasoning I believed our marriage should end. She stated she loves and needs me, and I wasn't aware her need for this marriage would be her reason to live. I had a hunch that something was wrong and I should have listened to it. She said she wanted to go for a drive and she asked me first. Usually when she wants to just drive around and take some space, she just goes and lets me know. I should have known something was up when she asked me. She called me twice as she was out, and when she came back, she told me she took a bunch of pills, Xanax, sertraline, and another anxiety medication. She had a 10-minute video for everyone explaining her decision and her being at peace with it, and a note for myself and a few family members and her last wishes. I immediately called 911 when she told me and rushed to the hospital. I believe she will be okay, but I can't imagine what chronic issues she may have from this. Previously, she booked a flight to go to her parents' home and she told me she actually planned on taking her life there, but after our discussion she said she couldn't bear the pain of being alive. I read the notes and the videos and it's laid out as being mostly my fault. Certain quotes such as "It's no one's fault but marriage is not easy. Although OP and I had our ups and downs. Please don't be too angry with him, but he is the main reason why I couldn't go on. I wanted to be married and have kids, but that dream was crushed. I'm so thankful she's alive. I feel so fucked up right now. 1. For not being aware enough to know where she was at mentally. She sees a psychiatrist and she's been on antidepressants that seem to have been doing a great job. As you all can imagine, I'm now faced with the feeling that if I leave this marriage, she will kill herself and I don't know what to do. She kept telling me at the hospital, "Don't leave me, we can have a life together." Why am I not good enough? My wife is an amazing person and I truly believe she can still have the wonderful marriage and kids that she desires, and I don't want to waste her time. Praying my wife is in good condition as I couldn't stay at the hospital, and they are keeping her as its protocol for self-harm.
OP, I honestly think this is a problem that she would have regardless if the two of you were together or not. Also, am I the only one who thinks this whole attempt of hers is just for attention? Are you certain she actually took those pills? OP, you are being manipulated and emotionally abused. If a person wants to send themselves to the shadow realm, you don't take a shit ton of drugs and then tell someone so they could save you. It's an excellent manipulation tactic though. Look man, this is way too much pressure for anyone to live with. You will never be able to leave her due to the fear that she will delete herself. It is the ultimate control. If you continue on like this, it's only a matter of time before you are the one making an attempt. And now for today's second story. My ex-wife was cheating. Posted by Reddit user OKWay.
Met my ex-wife 7 years ago and decided to take in her son as if he were my own and loved both of them dearly.
By the end of this, you are going to be crying like a little bitch.
We got married 5 years into our relationship. In the first 6 months, I discovered she had been talking to my sister's ex-husband, her husband at the time, for over a year behind my back, sister's back, and our whole family in secret. I won't explain how I caught her as it is really complicated to post here, but the conversations she gave up all involved both of them talking badly about me and my sister and our mom. My ex-wife wasn't defending me at all and went along with everything he was saying. As I said, she gave me what she wanted me to see, so who knows if there was also flirting, cheating between them besides the smack talking. Anyhow, I wanted to divorce her as it was a huge blow and massive breach of trust. She moved out for a bit but contacted me begging and pleading for a second chance. I took her back and we moved back in together, still married. I warned her if she was to ever lie and hold secrets like this again, it was over for good. She is a Christian and I am an atheist, something we both discussed and were aware of before getting married. A year after the situation between her and my ex-brother-in-law, I discovered on her laptop some flirtatious texts between her and some guy from her church. The texts weren't overly sexual or anything, but they were just enough to be a concern for me, so I decided to ask her if everything was okay. She told me yes, everything was fine and that she loved me and respected me as her husband. After her telling me this, I showed her the texts between her and this guy, which were the reason for me to check in with her. She simply said it was a guy she met at church who was going to give our son drum lessons. I was very hurt by the way they texted, and something told me there was something more than what she was saying. She said she understood and that she was sorry and that they didn't speak again. She was very distant and cold during this time, and she would get extra ready blow drying her hair in the morning, etc., before going to church. One day, I'm watching a movie with our 8-year-old son and he tells me, "Hey, I'm going to a lake with my mom's friend." Immediately I feel a deep concern in my gut, so I take out my phone and go to his Instagram page to show our son a picture of this guy. He confirms that it is him. At this point I feel like she has been completely lying and cheating, so I go over to her as she is getting out of the bathroom to ask her for a divorce because of what her son just told me. She says the lake trip is a group church activity, nothing more. I'm so upset as I don't know whether to believe her or not. She and our son go into the bathroom with the door locked, and I eavesdrop hearing her tell our son, "Why would he say that to me?" And our son responded, "Sorry, Mom. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to say." That day, I stalked the church's Instagram page until I find that both my son and wife are sitting with this guy at a restaurant. I screenshot it and send it to her, and she still denies that anything is going on and that there were others there, which there were, but I still felt concerned because out of all people them three sat next to each other. I felt confused, hurt, and conflicted. I didn't want to be played as a fool, so I continued with the divorce process, and she moved out for a few months before the divorce was finalized. Throughout this, she managed to gaslight me so much that this was my fault and that she never had anything with this guy. During our separation, this seed of culpability she planted in me ate me up, so I sought her out to see if she was willing to try therapy. She was hesitant but agreed. We went to therapy for one session and promised me she wouldn't go back to that church because she knew how it seemed and didn't want me to feel insecure. Well, she lied. One night I stalked the Instagram page again, and there she was at the church and also a restaurant with the church group, and this guy was there as well. I screenshotted it and sent it to her saying, "See you on the divorce date." She didn't even try much to defend herself. She just said sorry and came by my house to pick up the rest of her things. So we didn't continue therapy. Couple months went by with no contact and divorce date came. We spent all morning and afternoon at the courthouse together, waiting to be called. She seemed sad but sort of okay with what was happening. At the end we hugged and she cried on my chest, insinuating that she would have continued trying to work things out, but in a guilt-tripping me sort of way. Months go by with no contact except on our anniversary date. She texts me saying she hopes the life I chose was what I wanted. I took that as a passive-aggressive way of telling me the divorce was because of me and wanted me to feel guilty. More months go by, so now it's about 11 months since the beginning of me seeing those flirty texts between them. The seeds of guilt planted in me still ate at me because of her manipulation, and the fact that I didn't have hardcore evidence that she and this guy had something or that she cheated. There were hints and lots of gut feelings, but when you're in love it doesn't feel enough to be firm on your decision, on top of her gaslighting. So I reached out to her to describe how painful everything still was and how much I missed her. She responded in the same way as if she was also in a lot of pain, so I asked if she wanted to try reconciling again and try therapy again. She agreed.
Everything you say to me is pissing me off.
We went to a few sessions. Things seemed to improve, like our communication, but she was still going to this church group thing and the guy was still around, so it still made me a bit uneasy, and she knew this, but reassured me and the therapist that nothing had ever happened between them. It stopped since the very beginning after I discovered the initial texts. We go on a trip and everything was going well until I discovered 15,000 deleted text messages between her and this guy from church. She was lying the entire time. They never stopped talking and she was trying to have a relationship with him from the start. I had her admit everything in front of the therapist and she admitted she liked him and saw him as a godly guy. They were texting each other while we were still living together and most likely saw each other too. She was saying a lot of half-truths, but they were enough to confirm that she was having an affair. She admitted he was going over her house and she was going over his when we were separated, and she insinuated that they fooled around only but never sex. Bullshit. She even said that after us being at court the entire day, where I thought we were both suffering from the end of this significant relationship, she went to go see this guy right after and went on a date and kissed. They kept going over each other's houses, especially after her sending her son away for a few weeks with family. All of this while I was mourning and feeling guilty for putting forth the divorce. She begged me some more for another chance after discovering the truth. I was vindicated, which felt good, but I am in so much pain that the reality I so desperately didn't want to believe was true.
Wow, like a bitch.
And that's what Frieza said.
I blocked her as she was begging me for another chance, and that it's how it has been for a couple days now. She hasn't tried to contact me through any other way. Part of me feels strong this time of keeping it this way as I feel she is a complete cheating liar, but I'm scared to not be strong enough to hold this out. It's just so shocking to me as I thought she really loved me like I loved her and her child. Any tips, advice, and support will help. Many thanks. Update. She contacted me via WhatsApp after realizing she was blocked and was apologizing again and that she loves me. She still doesn't admit she cheated. She changed up reality, saying she only texted him in those initial texts and didn't continue until we lived apart during separation. Total gaslighting, so sick of it. Also went on to start saying how unhappy she was in the marriage due to not getting understand from me and me supposedly yelling at her. Typical cheater sob story. To which at the end she says she knows she lost a good man, which completely conflicts with her justification for doing what she did. This blame shifting only adds to the pain and anger inside of me, on top of the actual betrayal. So sickening.
Well, OP, after everything that has happened to you, congratulations on finally using your brain. I hope you finally got it in that thick skull of yours that you should never ever take back a cheater. Dude, she fucked your ex-brother-in-law and you thought she was going to change? Seriously, I really wanted to feel sorry for you, man.
Unfortunately, it's overshadowed by all this unyielding rage!
Look, she is a serial cheater. No amount of counseling or her begging will change who she is. Drop this woman and her son from your life. Block her on everything for good. Oh, and next time, don't date a single mother. It will only end badly for you, as evident by your experience. Finally, do you not know what a paragraph is? Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.